All is quiet, all is dead. The city has melted. The sound has penetrated through our heads. The world has ended. The gas is gone. It killed the people. Now the mutants live on. Now roll that beautiful bean footage.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to CX Riot Radio, where we talk about customer experience and stuff still in a hyper-caffeinated state. I'm David, the caffeinated CXO, and I'll be your host here on CX Riot Radio. Change the name if you want to find out why. It's a long story summarized into a 2-paragraph blog post, so I guess not a long story, up on the blog, which is in the link tree posted in the show notes, right? So I'm not going to get into it in the episode. You can read about it yourself. That is right. So today we're going to be talking about customer science. Customer science sounds a bit nerdy, right? A bit dorky maybe even a little geeky. But you know what? That's fine. Because here on CX Riot Radio, we're not afraid to get down with the nerds. We're not afraid to let our geek show. So, what is customer science? That's a good question. Let's find out. Let's go to beyondphilosophy.com and read something that Colin Shaw wrote. He has a great podcast. You should listen to him. So, what is customer science? Like any embryonic change, customer science is evolving and emerging like customer experience did over the years. In my view, this is Colin Shaw's view, customer science is the fusion between technology, mainly AI, behavioral science, and data. These individual parts are not new, but their integration under one concept is, and it can make a massive difference in customer-driven growth. So let's break it down a bit more, starting by defining science. Professor Ryan Hamilton is the only scientist the author knows. Fortunately, he is also the co-host of the podcast The Intuitive Customer with Colin Shaw. Imagine that. And they discussed what customer science was on a recent episode. Professor Hamilton explained that science is a rigorous identification and measurement of phenomena, leading to understanding it systematically, and then presenting it with a causal link or theory. Science doesn't say we know for sure that we will be right, but it does say when we get new information, we know more than when we started. Yeah, that's the scientific method for you. So, is your company good at rigorous identification of customer experiences in a systematic way that you can explain with a theory? Side note, probably not. Goes on to say, I am sure most of you will say no because most businesses don't. I was right. When I look at organizations today, I being Colin Shaw, the vast majority have neither rigor nor an in-depth understanding of customers and their experiences. Moreover, most organizations do not look at a rational, emotional, subconscious, and psychological level of a customer experience, which is vital to understanding customer behavior. These organizations can go into incredible depth using science in other areas like products, finances, operations, and so on, but not customers. Therein lies the problem. Without this in-depth understanding of customer behavior, organizations can't interpret the data or adequately train their AI. For example, I talked to a client, I again being Colin Shaw, and asked him if he had any client research in a specific area. He said he did, from 7 years ago. Colin Shaw thought, blimey, that is a lifetime ago. The world has changed drastically in the last 7 months, let alone 7 years. When I asked to see data, he asked to see data on how a customer feels and which specific emotions they were evoking with their present experience. The client did not have any data on these areas either. Without this information, how can a business claim to have a rigorous identification of customer experience systematically or explain customer behavior with a casual link? However, that doesn't bother the author nearly as much as the fact that they don't even realize it's necessary. As he mentioned before, customer science is an embryonic idea. When you Google customer science, it doesn't yield many results. There are a few out there, but not an overwhelming amount. Yep, it's not fully defined. It's more of a fusion between technology, customer experience, and behavioral science. Yeah. Now, data collection is the first step toward customer science. So, you should collect customer data. Is your company customer obsessed? And do you employ scientists to look at customer behavior based on the data you have collected? Again, the majority of people will say no. However, what would be possible if you use that data for segmentation by customers' buying habits, hobbies, values, and spending amounts too? It would be a powerful package. So, do you remember the article goes on to say, do you remember what life was like before the iPhone? The author does. You could take a digital picture, talk or text on the phone, listen to digital music, check your email, and shop on the internet just like you do today. However, those things were all done on separate devices. The iPhone brought them all together, and the advantage was the integration. The consolidation of functionality makes them more potent than they were as individual devices. The same idea, he goes on, of consolidation with the concept of customer science. The term is a repackaging of existing theories: customer experience, AI, technology, cloud, 5G's potential for data collection, customer experience management, and the behavioral sciences, psychological concepts, and a new way. It's not wrong to repackage either. If making an old idea new again makes people excited about it and the old theory is a sound and important one, hey, go for it. Another significant influence on the idea is that organizations feel pressure to change. The marketplace has changed drastically over the pandemic. The increasingly widespread adoption of cloud computing, digital transformation, 5G, fuel the fusion of these ideas and encourage organizations to embrace them. We aren't there yet. There is no customer science lab hard at work optimizing the way to foster customer-driven growth. The concept is nascent, little more than a label at the moment. However, it's a label with potential, and perhaps even an idea whose time has come. So, the interpretation of data is the next competitive battleground. I'll let you guys read the rest of the article. I'll link it down in the doobly-doo. So, knowing that customer science is the application of data, AI, technology, customer experience, and all that stuff, how can small and medium businesses benefit from that? That's what we're going to talk about today, even though we're already 8 minutes in. And you know how I like to keep these light and tight. Well, okay. So first you need customer insights, right? You need things like purchase history, maybe even some demographics, some psychographics, interactions, stuff like that. You can gain insights into your target audience. Who is your target audience? What makes your target audience tick? Well, so then you can use that to personalize marketing, products, and services to better meet those customer needs. Okay? So, operational efficiency is another one. Customer science can help small businesses optimize inventory, supply chain, pricing strategies based on demand forecasting, trend analytics, things like that. That improves your cash flow and ensures your product or service availability. You can also use this to leverage loyalty and retention, of course. So, now, to implement it effectively, you should identify key business challenges that data can address. Always be looking at your data. Always be analyzing. Always, if you don't like doing that, have someone that can. Have someone that enjoys making pivot tables and analyzing data, and then is also able to make suggestions or suggestions for changes, right? Using that data, right? Gathering clean customer data from various sources, of course. Analyze the data using appropriate analytic techniques. Translate insights into those actionable strategies that you're going to need. And then, of course, monitor the outcomes. You're probably going to have the course correct when you're new at this. So now with small, medium businesses, limited resources, most of them have a little bit of a lack of, data expertise, things like that, right? But there's a lot of user-friendly analytics tools that you can use, right? Google Analytics right there for your website is a treasure trove of information. Your call center, another treasure trove of information. How do your customers talk? How do your customers describe the service or the product they need or want, right? That's going to tell you a lot more than most other things, right? So either start listening to calls or start reading transcripts. You can even take a bunch of the transcripts, run them through AI, and get the keywords, right? How are customers calling this? What are customers saying about that? Best way to do it, right? It's the fastest way to do it. Otherwise, you can print them all out, put them in a binder, and just take a highlighter and do it that way if you want. Or you can save some time, save some energy, and get things into production by just running it through AI. It's one of the main reasons that you should be using AI is that and making it say dirty jokes. So, all right. So, to help you leverage customer science to improve customer retention, let's talk about that a little bit here. All right, because customer retention is very, very important. You want to keep your customers. You don't want your customers running off to another company. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's insane, as they say. So let's not do that, okay? So, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, hell, even large businesses can leverage the customer science to improve customer retention in quite a few ways. We're going to cover a couple, okay? Do your own research. Jesus. Track your important customer service metrics like churn rate, retention rate, and whatever your acceptable retention goals are, whatever you've set, right? Gather and respond to customer feedback. Always get feedback. You can either have a survey that automatically goes out after the product is shipped, the service is done, whatever. You can have someone physically call, right? Stuff like that. You can have Google reviews, Yelp reviews, stuff like that. You should actually be doing all of those things and then consolidating that data and running it through and analyzing it. But just do those things, okay? So, and then, act on them. If you do let's say 1,000 touch points, right? 1,000 feedback touch points, and 80% of them are saying the same thing, right? You should probably do something about that, right? Either positively or negatively. 80% might be saying the same good thing. You should hammer down on that, double down on it, and lean into that. If the 80% is saying something negative, you should fix that. And that gives you the best way of doing it, right? Doing nothing with it is stupid. Then, there's things like personalizing the customer experience. That's, again, knowing your target audience, your core demographic, the people that actually use your products or services. And if you don't have a target market, you have no market, and you should reevaluate things, right? So, analyze the customer lifetime value. You should do this anyway. It quells a lot of debates. So, I won't get more into that. But, let's see. Other ways to personalize is, using history, preferences, behavior. Again, analyzing those feedback forms. Train your staff to address people by name. I know that's amazing, and I shouldn't really have to say that, but it needs to be said. And have them reference past purchases, past history, things like that. You can segment and personalize marketing campaigns. So instead of saying customer, you can say name. That's pretty easy to do. In fact, there's not many that aren't like that right now. Now, let's talk about some challenges. As we know, small to medium businesses have a couple of disadvantages as compared to like the Fortune 250, right? They usually have fewer financial, tech, and staffing resources compared to, the Fortune 250, like I mentioned, making it more difficult, but not impossible, to collect, analyze, and act on customer data. Smaller customer bases can make it harder to gather sufficient data to develop robust customer profiles and personalization strategies. That's why you need to do lookalikes, right? And stuff like that. There's always those silos that you need to knock down. I've talked about that plenty of times. There should be no silos in a business, no matter how big or small. All of the departments, all the heads should be talking to each other and have an open flow of communication, minus the obvious that I don't need to talk about. A lot of small, medium businesses have outdated technology. Like you walk into a business and they have like Windows XP in 2024 or Windows 7 in 2024, or they're trying to do their work off of outdated computers that have the right operating system, but they run like molasses in January in Maine. So not good, not the best. You should always invest in equipment that works, so that way you can actually be more productive. Because if you're not being productive, what are you doing, right? Now, customers sometimes, rightly or wrongly, mostly wrongly, have a kind of a preconceived notion that smaller businesses cannot provide the same level of personalized service as larger competitors, right? If there's a package store, right, that is like in a strip mall, let's say, right? Is someone going to compare that to Amazon, right? Yeah. Scaling personalization as the customer base grows, it becomes increasingly difficult for small businesses to maintain a highly personalized approach at scale. Yeah. Did that contradict that last point? I don't know. No, it didn't. Striking the right balance between automation and human touch, that's crucial. That's for your own company to decide which way you want to go. If you want it completely balanced, if you want it more human, if you want it more automated, I would opt for more human with automation in the background. So I think that's the way to go. That's me. That's your CX Riot Radio host. Personal opinion. So have you utilized customer science in your own company? I'd like to know. I think it's a fascinating subject. I think it's something that everyone should look into. I think it's the future of customer experience. I think that's where it's headed. And I think it's part of customer experience. It's under the customer experience CX umbrella. Because it is. That's just the way it is. And we got to face that, right? So dig into your data, dig into your customer base, find out what's going on with them, right? Find out what they like, find out what they don't like, not only with your service or product, but also in their lives. Study your Google Analytics, right? Go in. If you have a Facebook page, you probably do. Go into there. Try to find some lookalikes, right? Study, or have someone study it. And then someone who's analytical, who can break down the data and give some actionable steps. That's what counts. You can have as much data as you want, right? Data is easy to come by. The ability to analyze it, to read it, and to make it make sense, as well as execute on that data, that's where the real magic is. And that's who you need in your organization. So, there you go. This has been CX Riot Radio, signing off. I'm still getting used to the name.